This program proudly brought to you by the Daewoo Sail and a Half.
On the Fair Star. No, only gagging. He was a child star, a rock star and a television star, and he's still going strong. So lock up your mothers and say hello to singer, songwriter and now author Billy Thorpe. Thorpe, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. We were discussing earlier whether or not we'd met before, and neither of us could remember.
Well, it was the 70s, mate, very early.
Well, if you remember those days, you probably weren't paying attention.
I think we did. I think we played a couple of gigs together.
Well, it's great for me to have you here because, like any musician, any Australian musician, you're a legend to me, particularly as I was coming up through rock and roll ranks, mostly because I remember the Aztecs as being the loudest band in the world.
We were loud.
Why were you so loud?
Because it was good, you know. It's like difference between driving a Volkswagen and a Ferrari. I mean, it really felt good to play that loud, and the music sort of required that kind of volume. It just took on a whole different energy. It wasn't just done for the effect of being loud. It was when you try to play it through a little Fender Twins, it just didn't come across, you know.
Well, let's just take you back, mate, and have a look at Billy Thorpe as he was. Roll the data.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, look at that. Haven't changed a bit.
Not a bit. Same haircut and everything, mate.
Nearly the same haircut. Now that must bring back some great memories for you.
It does, yeah. I think this is in Perth. I think we went over with Brian Henderson. Yeah, we did.
Now, why did you always sing with your hands behind your back?
Because I used to play guitar, and when we got Tony Barber in the band, not the Tony Barber from the game show, but Tony Barber who was in the Aztecs, I didn't know what to do with my hands, so I put them behind my back, and it sort of stuck.
Because it became a real trademark.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
As did your clothing, because I was speaking to Denise before the show, and the thing she remembered most about you was that you were always immaculately dressed, really classily dressed. Was that a conscious part of the image?
I started in TV when I was a kid, when I was 10 years old, on Channel 9, QDQ Channel 9 in Brisbane. I used to do that show 3-4 nights a week. So I had a really good wardrobe from when I was like 11, 12 years old, and I was always really conscious of clothing, but then it went the other way for me.
It did.
I grew my hair, and but clothing was a big part of the 60s. I mean, you know, the whole movement of very early 60s of, you know, popular music and fashion, they all moved at the same time.
Well, your career had sort of 3 or 4 distinct stages, and in the first stage you had big hits, Poison Ivy, Mashed Potato.
Over the Rainbow, Sick and Tired, yeah.
Yeah,
like that.
Twilight Time, was that in the first
Well, that was
period?
the second band.
Yeah, that was the second band.
What's amazing to me is, with this book that I've got out, when I wrote it, it occurred to me for the first time just how quick it had happened for us, because we went from obscurity in August of '63 to 60,000 people here in Melbourne at the Myer Music Bowl in '64. And that band was only together just under 18 months. And it's lasted. I mean, the image of that band and the reputation has lasted all of these years. Then there was a second band of Aztecs.
Well, but then you had all those hit songs, and you had a TV show of your own, hosting your own TV show.
Yeah.
And then in '68, you went bankrupt.
Over $220, by the way.
Is that what happened?
A manager of somebody associated with our management group had gone out and bought a whole lot of merchandising. Is that you?
There's a lady
you were in there.
It's in the film.
Roll
clip.
it back.
Let's roll it back and have a look.
Is that right?
What's your name, ma'am?
Jenny.
Jenny.
I was 15.
Can we roll that back, Ada, and just have a look, see if we can pick her up? Where are you? That's you.
That's you.
Oh. I'll tell you what.
Here we go. Stand up and create a bit of space.
We're going to recreate history, ladies and gentlemen.
You've dubbed yourself in now, Dan. There's no way out.
I know you don't want to sing, but you're going to sing now, and you're going to sing, and Jenny's going to rush out and mob us. Come on, we want to see this. History, go. Here she comes, look out.
You know, you sang the words for that song tonight.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, it really is. I'd often wondered, you know, we were going to... At one stage, they were talking about doing a show here where we recreated, actually, the Myer Music Bowl, because one of the biggest shows that we did was here in Melbourne. And they were going to look for all the girls in the audience because they were throwing their knickers on the stage. And did you throw your pants on the stage that night? You did?
No, no.
Would you like to now? Come on, get them off. Mate, if all of the girls that you knew back in those days were gathered in one room, what would you need? You'd need the My Music Bowl again, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I need.
Because let me just quote from the book, and it's very aptly titled. I've read the book. It's called Sex and Thugs and Rock and Roll. We just get a shot of it there. And just, let me read a bit from this is just the introduction. It says here, this is a true story about Australian humour, attitudes, musicians, fashion, hookers, strippers, street life, history, love, murder, sex, thugs, and rock and roll. It's my story. Mate, it reads, honestly, if you were to, I reckon this, if you were to present this as fiction, people would say it's too far-fetched.
Well, actually, when I got into writing it, I fictionalised it. It was going to be what they call faction. It was going to be part fact and part fiction. And I had gun battles in it and samurai sword fights. It was great, you know. I had it cast. And Pat McMillan said to me, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, you know, because the fact is so weird coming from somebody that people know so well. Stick to facts. So I did. I went and trimmed all of the fiction out, and they're right.
Well, out of all your career that spans 30-odd years,
right,
why did you choose this one particular year, 63 to 64?
Well, because I've been in the business so long. After the 60 Minutes thing, when I was out doing the Aztecs, Lock Up Your Mothers, I got offers to write for magazines and to do autobiographies and whatever. And I thought, God, 40 years, you know, it's a bit daunting, man, having never written anything. And I hit on the cross. I tried writing a little bit about my very early life. I tried writing about the 70s, and as soon as I hit the cross, it just poured out. I was writing about, 7,500 words a day. The book wrote itself, and I started, to remember all the great characters and, some of the ridiculous things that we did, because we were a travelling circus. That bunch of Aztecs, they were just crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you find it difficult, the actual writing?
Not at all, no. I found I can write. I didn't, that I have a voice, and it just seems to come out on paper, and I'm thrilled, because I've started 3 other books as a result of this one.
Have you?
So, yeah, this one's doing very well, and I love it. It's probably the most satisfying thing I've ever done.
Well, just tell the folks at home, there's a great story in here about a concert in Perth involving some slime and young girls.
Well, that's that concert, I think. I'm not sure, because we did 2 bandstands in Perth, but we got to Perth, and there was about 6,000 to 7,000 kids at the airport to start with, and they took us in ambulances to get us to the theatre. And we did 2 shows at a place called the Capitol Theatre, which is now gone. About 10 minutes into the first show, they started mobbing the stage, and the police came on and stopped the show, and the back doors opened, and all the coppers came in with police dogs. So we played the first show with police dogs in the aisles, took an intermission, and went back. The same thing happened again. I got pushed off the stage. I got my finger broken. I think I got my nose broken. And at one stage, I had an Alsatian police dog hanging off my ass, in the pits like this, with fans pulling me out. It's just outrageous.
And Bill, here is that dog. Bring him out. Now, mate, you're living in the States, aren't you?
Yeah, I've lived there for 20 years.
Telling me you do spend a lot of time still out here.
This is my 18th trip since June of '94. I've just been backwards and forwards.
Why don't you move back here, mate? Put a band together and...
my youngest daughter just went to college. So my wife and I, we've been together 25 years. We're free agents now. My eldest daughter's 24.
That must feel good.
Well, it doesn't, actually. It feels yeah, well, we're a very close family and grown up with 2 daughters, and the house is empty. We've got this big house, and it's just Lynn and I and a dog.
So you've got 2 daughters. Let me ask you this question. If you had a 17-year-old son, and he said, Dad, I'm moving to King's Cross and joining a rock and roll band, what would you say?
Today?
Yeah.
I'd break his leg. I mean, 30 years ago, it's a different place. It really was a different place.
Well, it's a great book. I recommend it to you highly. It's called Sex and Thugs and Rock and Roll. It's a great read about a great bloke. Would you thank Billy Thorpe?
Thank you very much. Good on you, Pat. Thank you.
To be a part of the last